This meme of the day is brought to you by Stop Being a Little Bitch, Timmy. It was just a typical anime protagonist that died. His life means nothing.
Too soon, buddy.
Yeah, but hey, another new person takes meme of the day. Congratulations.
Yay.
Please don't blow my brains out again, Yang. It took hours to get it back in there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest episode of Lads Discuss Death Battle with Billy Boy, the man who says the most sexual things this season, and co-starring your only mate.
I was told that my button mashing sounds like a machine gun this morning.
And as well as Sean.
I'll be honest, this was tear-jerking. And congratulations to the episode we are about to talk about, hitting trending. First one of the season, folks.
Boop, boop. So, if you haven't seen the latest Death Battle, we are getting into spoiler territory. You have been warned. Though, if you did see the meme of the day, I guess you were kind of spoiled already.
You had to be spoiled if you're watching the podcast.
Yeah, true. So, Tanjiro versus Jonathan Joestar, and...
Tanjiro fucking died.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, I do like the fact as well, Jonathan is another JoJo character who managed to win another one for the series. Congrats, the OG managed to win.
Yes, the first JoJo wins for the JoJos.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first JoJo to ever JoJo.
I'm going to say this right now. This is the best episode of the season for me already.
It's the funniest... Okay, this is going to sound really messed up. This was, to me, the funniest episode we've had. Including the outcome.
I mean, that is understandable, like, especially with the analysis stuff that happened.
No, even the last scene of the fight had me bawling out crying of laughter.
Oh, well, at least you can admit you cried.
Actually crying of laughter, okay.
Hey, look, we've been doing this with Bill, so we know he's got dark humor.
Yeah, true.
And a dark side. That's my that's my bootleg Empire theme, just so Disney doesn't come after my ass. Alright, so, okay, even though it was sad seeing Tanjiro lose this fight, you know what, it made for a funny little finale. So, alright, so, first of all, the analysis portion. Finally this season, it managed to make me laugh. Because
If you laughed purely because of the Pickle Rick joke, I swear.
But he turned himself into a pickle, mate. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
I thought it was a train. Although, now that I think about it, a demon pickle does sound horrifying.
Tanjiro just turns over a pickle and it's just Nezuko going, I'm a pickle, Tanjiro! Oh. Oh. So,
like...
the humour was just great. Like, the last few episodes was really lacking in humour, because sometimes the jokes just didn't make sense in the last few episodes. Like, the whole Jinx being Vi's sister, you know, it's like, is that meant to be funny? Is that meant to be a twist? You know, that was just bad writing. But this episode had Boomstick pretty much shitting all over the whole idea that, you know, breathing gives you superpowers. It's like, yeah, when you look at it from like a casual perspective, it is pretty stupid.
Oh yeah, but they also brought up their real life examples.
I know, but
I thought that was really cool of them to do that.
Yeah, but I just like it when Boomstick is just so like he's good when it comes to weaponry, but when it comes to like spiritual, physical attributes, it's like, nah, he's pretty literal when it comes to it. And this episode showed off that, you know what, he's the brains when it comes to weaponry, not the brains when it comes to everything else.
And snakes.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
But I will admit as well, the analysis did give me hope that Tanjiro could have pulled off a win, because I was completely unaware that he could, you know, identify people's weaknesses and even like go Taskmaster and, you know, figure out what, figure out their muscle movements and predict their next move. I was like, okay, that could actually give him the edge, especially if he's considered faster. But
yeah, honestly, that was a big surprise to learn that from Tanjiro. Like, that made me worry. Like, as soon as I saw that part, I'm like, oh, shit. Even if JoJo's only slightly faster, Tanjiro can outpredict him.
Yeah.
It turns out he's much faster.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, similar case with, like, you know, the amount of techniques he had, though, would have kept... Like, here's the thing, like, this matchup wasn't a stomp. Alright, because Jonathan wasn't going to instantly be able to win the fight.
I mean, he had potential instant win conditions, but... surprisingly, like the strength contest between these two was very close to. Honestly, I thought Tanjiro could have taken the strength advantage between them.
Yeah, you could make an argument to how Tanjiro could win. It's not one of those you have to find a very specific circumstance to explain how exactly he could win. It's like, no, there is a chance. It's just that Jonathan was just more capable. And I also like the facts as well. In Jonathan's analysis, they kind of make fun of him for being a goody two-shoes. It's like, yeah, you know what? When you do look at it from a writing's perspective, he was a bit too... he was being too nice to Dio. He should have just ended him right then and there.
I mean, that was Araki's vision when it came to Jonathan. Like, I think for Araki, he wanted to make every Joestar different in a certain way.
I suppose. It is just funny, like, you know, he's this ultimate badass, but he's like, I love my brother too much, I can't destroy him. However, I'll create generations of people that will find a way to stop Dio. It's like, well, logical.
We also, like, I know we don't have, like, end of analysis clips, but I love the to be continued joke that they pulled at the end of Jonathan's analysis. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that...
Yeah, okay, I thought that was funny. I didn't think the way they ended Tanjiro's was that funny.
It did feel kind of like rushed. Like the moment the shutters came in, I was just like, oh, okay. Kind of a weird
because they ended it like, you know, they usually do, where it's just like talking up Tanjiro and just like, yeah, him and the others, they're gonna kill these demons and make a new world for all humanity. That would have been a good way to end, and then they just add on, and wherever this guy is, the end.
I mean, this is probably a case of where they had, like, post-analysis clips already picked out, but they couldn't do it because of everything.
Could be.
With the Saitama episode.
Yeah, it could be. You know...
I didn't mind it that much, because, like, I'm not used to Demon Slayer, so it's like, yeah, what even are you? Are you a boar?
I've heard he's just a guy who runs around with a boar mask.
Yeah, he's a weird character, but he's one of my favorites.
Also... I know people were concerned that they were going to spoil Demon Slayer, but I think they handled it, like, well. They kind of, like, made it subtle.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of spoiled... I feel like we kind of spoiled more in our prediction.
Well, I'm saying this is a good thing, though, because, like, a lot of people didn't like that idea going back to Blake versus Mikasa, with Mikasa Attack on Titan series being spoiled.
Technically, they didn't say anything. It's only there if, like, you actually bother to read anything.
Well,
yeah,
I think his point still stands.
Yeah, it was handled a lot better here still compared to that.
I have no idea because I don't watch Demon Slayer at all.
It's really awkward when it comes to doing like death battles on anime, especially because Demon Slayer's manga is finished. However, its anime is still going on. That's what's giving it a fan base. So I guess if you're also a death battle fan, or you just happen to be like, oh, Tanjiro versus Jonathan, and then you find like it does reveal like his techniques, like he learns later in the series, but it's not like heavy what happens with his sister or his family or, you know, the main villains, which, you know what, I think that's great because I do feel like previous ones did kind of spoil too much.
Yeah, they wanted to focus more so on Tanjiro himself rather than the series as a whole, which was a smart choice.
Also, can I just say, TLDR, to quote Attack on Titan in 9 minutes, go read the fucking manga.
Well, not everyone can get the manga yet.
So, mate, you're
it was also meant to be a joke.
So, mate, you're not one to tell people go read a book. You refuse to read books. So I guess we'll move on to the fight itself, and
Oh boy, this is fun.
Now I will kind of agree with some people saying some of the puppeteering with the sprites was a bit awkward in some shots. When rewatching it, I was a bit like, okay, that looks a bit funky. However, I feel like
I thought the sprites looked really like blocky at times.
Oh, who lives in the demon world under the sea? Tanjiro Square Dude.
Absorbing of sunlight is he, Tanjiro Square Dude.
Okay, we're not going to sing a full theme tune. Unless I get to 1,000. Unless I get to 1,000 subscribers, then I totally would do a parody.
And then you have to make that shirt.
I can't even remember the shirt now. We've made so many jokes that can go on a shirt.
Hashtag stop the bullying.
Okay, yes. But
the only flaw I had with the fight was like the water effects with the environment didn't, like for Tanjiro's sword, like I just thought it didn't look quite right.
No, the backgrounds are very like pixel sprite, like classic Final Fantasy background. And then you have this very detailed water sprite. It's like sometimes they've managed to make it work, sometimes they didn't. And this is one of them.
It's just very a minor complaint I have with this fight, honestly.
Oh yeah,
but like I felt so many emotions throughout this whole thing. It was intense. I love the inner monologue between the two. You felt the sadness, and then you felt a little bit of happiness towards the end. Because holy hell, this was well done storytelling by Liam. Directed this episode, I believe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that
it's a JoJo episode. Of course, it was him.
And he's usually great when it comes to the humor and the writing.
And also, one of the big things that Luis was hyping up was the JoJo color change for this episode. That worked so well for this fight.
Yeah, and honestly, what made this fight funny for me was just that how exaggerated their mannerism was. Because when you watch the anime with these characters, it's not as cheesy like that. Like honestly, it's one of those like. The accents that were given these characters, I was waiting for like some classic like 90s like laughing crowd at the end of each one of their sentences.
Aw, he's adorable, like a puppy. I wonder if his caretaker's around.
It was almost like I was watching like Monty Python's anime battle.
Dude, I feel like the reason for that is just because both Benji and Zach did such a good job with Tanjiro and Jonathan.
I particularly like whenever Benji shouted overdrive, like he just shouts it like overdrive.
Dude, Benji made Jonathan his own character compared to JYV. Like Benji did super good as Jonathan.
Yeah, and I was
also Zach. Won't lie, at times he sounded like Justin Briner.
That's fair. The ironic thing is. Literally, the first name of the actual voice actor for Tanjiro is also named Zach, spelled the same exact way.
I had to give credit to the sound design as well, because each one of those punches Jonathan was throwing, like, you could feel those punches. Even if they were missing, you could picture, like, oh damn, if that hit him, that would have hurt.
Especially both the Zoom punch and the overdrive, like, ow, what nice sound.
They are SMR at this point. SMR? AMR. Yeah, like...
AMR?
Yeah, isn't that what it's called? AMR? Or was I right the first time? SMR.
ASMR is what it's normally called, but I like AMR better because it is ARM-related, and it's not soft-spoken at all.
Fair enough. But, yeah, I also have to admit as well, the fake-out in this fight actually got me, like... And, you know, it's a shame I don't record my reactions. One, I was on a public bus, I'm not sure people wanted to watch that. But when Jonathan got stabbed, I was like, yes! Then when it showed he missed his lung, I was like, no!
Dude, I love that detail.
I want to see that bus right now. Just you with earphones in, just watching the death battle, other people around you, and then out of nowhere you just go, yes! No! And everyone just looks at you like, what the fuck?
You must be watching a sports game.
Oh yeah, like, I live in the UK, so I'll probably figure like, he's probably watching like some shitty football game.
Nah, I'm watching something far more important.
Honestly,
I mean, that's debatable.
Dude, that detail though, where you see Tanjiro go to the X-ray mode again, and you see the 2 inches thing. That was a nice graphic choice, whether it was edited in or hand drawn in.
Yeah, that was great. I think similar to Madara versus Aizen, there was a lot of great fake outs. Like, you know, like the bit where Tanjiro breaks his sword and then stabs him. You were there thinking like, oh, he's doomed, and then just, ha, no, you missed my lungs. Even though
By 2 inches.
Even though I'm eternally bleeding right now.
Jonathan just fights with the sword still in his torso, like Dante.
Wolverine Dante would be proud.
Jonathan is a
I said Dante because, well, he won.
Yeah.
Wolverine will be back. He's a comic book character.
One day. Foreshadowing.
I think we definitely want to touch... I know this is like the best part, but the ending scene for this fight.
Good.
Oh my god.
I'm going to sound like such an asshole, but you guys give your thoughts on it first.
Okay. I don't know why I got the vibes, but like, it kind of felt like Goku versus Superman in a way. Like, the regret of his actions, and then just put him down like peacefully after the realization of what they're causing. Like, he stopped his heart. And that was just so sad, especially with the way the music kicks in towards the ending. And then just Jonathan promising to protect Nezuko at the end. I feel like a lot of reactions are going to be upset with that part, like, sad. And then that final shot of Jonathan reaching out for Nezuko is just adorable. And now I think it was Spectral Star who put it, that he wants like either like a fan comic or like an animated series of that journey now.
I mean, Nezuko can sense demons, so if she were around, he could have stopped Jonathan from dying to Dio.
I was actually going to make a joke. I'm just picturing the alternative ending to that fight is that he immediately gets killed by Dio, and then he goes to London to fight Alucard.
Nah, here's the alternate ending. Just the beginning of the fight. Leave her alone. No, I've sworn to slay all of Dio's demonic minions. Hey, she's my sister. Oh, sorry. Leaves.
What do you think in the ending, mate?
Okay, I'm gonna sound really different here because I see a lot of people say, "Oh my god, I absolutely love this episode. Oh my god, this is the best episode so far," and how emotional people got. I was just in the middle, honestly.
Oh yeah, and your reaction, you were just given the most deadpan, like, whatever. Look at that scene.
I mean, I feel like it was me and Max. We both said we were just like straight down the middle. We had no horse in this race. We didn't have either preference. We were just like completely neutral here. And yeah, I will admit, it, like, okay, it is a good episode. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like some jokes didn't like were a bit hit and miss. Like, one was like maybe overused. Like they used the like take his breath away thing a bit. Like, how many times did he? I think they used it more than once, at least.
I don't know.
Are you really being that sort of person that says they overuse a joke? Do I need to bring up the amount of times you've reused a joke in this podcast?
I was about to say, at least it wasn't the whole queen shit thing.
Okay, at some point, you got to explain to me about that joke and what was wrong with it.
Just overused. It's, like, okay, using it 3 times in one analysis. Okay, we're not talking about that episode.
And we're not going to get into that whole shtick because this is about this episode, Tanjiro versus JoJo. And you want to continue with your thought, mate?
And plus,
I would definitely say I did enjoy the episode. Like, at least I was like entertained by it. So, yeah, I would still call this a solid episode. It's just I felt extremely neutral the whole time.
I think that's probably because you're not that familiar with these two characters. You've not really watched a lot of their material, whereas the previous ones, you at least knew something about it, or you've watched the characters in something.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be all it takes to make an episode even better for you. If you're more familiar with the characters, then like you have more of an attachment to this episode.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend if people haven't watched Demon Slayer to definitely give it a watch. And I even might go back and watch a bit of Jonathan's story.
Dude, honestly, yeah, because like the way like some of the fast-paced action was, I got the vibes of both JoJo and Demon Slayer from animation. Like they really tried to hit home the fighting styles of each of these animes.
Yeah, credit to the sound design as well, and some of the close-up shots were really well animated, to the point I really thought they just got a transparent image and just put it on screen.
Yeah. Oh, and talking about the hand-drawn stuff, I absolutely love those. Just let me know, and there's even like some really brief ones too. Like it's only on screen for a split second, but when Tanjiro, like, his sword is all fire, and he, like, charges at Jonathan. It's on, like, the left side of the screen, but there's a brief hand-drawn shot of his face.
Yeah,
it's great.
That is so cool to see.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a shot that was needed, but you know what? I noticed it, and I appreciate it being there. It's a good detail.
I'd feel so sorry for that animator. They spend, like, a whole night trying to draw this image, and then he finds these in the episode. It's only in there for like less than a second. He's like, bitch.
I mean, to be fair, like sometimes that it takes a while to do like 1 second or one frame of animation like that. Sometimes that can take a day depending on what you're doing. So
yeah,
they probably knew what was going to happen with that, so that's why they wanted to make it look as good as possible.
I know. I just like the idea. Like, you know, he's sat there all excited, and then he only just briefly sees, and he's just like, bitch, I missed date night because of you. Have you guys said your piece on the ending to this fight?
Yeah, more or less.
Alright then, so here comes...
I'm just completely neutral. I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Okay, as for me... I was laughing at this ending. Okay, don't get me wrong.
You sick bastard.
It was sad. I'm not. But here's the thing that's gonna sound confusing. So I'm gonna try and not make it sound as dumb as I can. So, the moment Tanjiro is on the like he's thrusted into a boulder and he says his last words, I was thinking that we're gonna go the more just dramatic with Jonathan just kneeling down and then Tanjiro just dies. And then to say KO there. But no, they freaking have him bawling his eyes out. It goes all dramatic, changing the colour palettes. Like it becomes like some old school Western movie. He picks him up. And, okay, I'm not saying the acting was bad here. But I love how it was like... they weren't giving it their all trying to be dramatic. They were just only giving like the minimal effort to not sound too corny. Like, it was just making me laugh. It somehow was going so dramatic to the point it was sad, but then it gets funny again. And then he holds him in his arms and he falls to his knees. He's like, I will protect your sister. I was laughing so much. Like, I'm not sure if that was intentional. I would feel so bad if, Liam was like, oh,
I think that was the intention. I think you should feel bad.
But I couldn't because it was so over-dramatic, then suddenly not so dramatic that it came around to being sad to funny. And it's hard to explain, but it was just making me... I guess where in Death Battles I'm just so used to, a character gets killed and they make a witty one-liner like Jinx killing Harley Quinn. She does a pose and you see Harley Quinn's head bouncing. Zatanna does a pose and she summons Scarlet's Claws and goes, and that's our show. To then suddenly full-on Shakespearean type of ending. I don't know, it made it funny to me. I know I sound horrible, but I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, I know I sound like a complete scumbag, but I'm sorry. I don't want to laugh at it, but it just made me laugh. And that's why that's why I consider this one of my favourite episodes. In terms of like the comedy, I still say the best fight is still Scarlet Witch versus Satana. I mean, for God's sake, we have Satana juggling the universes. That was hilarious.
I'd actually say that Harley versus Jinx is probably my favorite so far.
That's fair. I just felt like this had the better humour, especially, and I'll definitely say it had the better animation. And in a few shots, it does look a bit awkward, but I'll definitely say the animation was like really good.
Look at it this way: there's 3 of us and 3 episodes. We each have a different favorite so far this season.
Yeah, it's great. Like this episode was a great episode. I've rewatched it a bunch of times.
Mine might change depending on how the next episode goes.
Yeah.
This one you can also see in 4K, by the way. Pretty dope.
Yay! I think we've all set up piece. I guess you know what, the soundtrack was pretty good. Not really much to say about it. It was just it's serviceable. It's not a song I would listen to if I was just going for a walk.
Sometimes the soundtracks are more serviceable in a fight than they are by themselves. But if you're judging the episode as a whole, judging it with the fight's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, going with the fight, that is the number one job of any soundtrack.
It's true, yeah.
I mean, if it's great to listen to on its own, then that's just a bonus.
Yeah, they do have some banger soundtracks out there, and don't get me wrong.
Wings of Iron, Hollow Dreams, Thunder Shroud.
I've listened to Thunder Shroud probably too much.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the soundtrack's called, but the one they used for War Machine versus Janos was really catchy.
Hey, computer.
Yeah, that's really catchy, especially with the beats. Like, they really.
Oh yeah. And you know what? That goes with the fight as well. Because did you notice the? Anytime Janos like linked his body back together, that's when it kicked in.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, it's great that Death Battle can get some songs that, you can watch it on its own, it still sound cool. But yeah, just like you said, most fight music is just serviceable for the fight itself, and it shouldn't really... Like, people shouldn't judge every single song or soundtrack like it's meant to be this next, big thing. Like, it's just meant to be fun little music for the fight. But it's like, in this day and age, everyone just wants the next You Say Run type of music. But yeah, not much really to say. The humour was great, the animation was pretty good, a few shots are a bit awkward. I thought I don't want to sound like a douchebag and say their writing was too corny, it made me laugh. It's just how dramatic it got at the end. That's what made me mostly laugh.
We'll let the comments decide.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, overall, this fight and episode was breathtaking, but next time either is going to Ragnarok or just drag on.
Finally. We're getting an episode of a character I am really excited about. But at the same time, we're also getting a character I'm like, fuck off about.